What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Join us now as we look at this week's edition of Dynamite, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including AEW is not failing, Tony Khan reveals a big announcement for next week, why did WWE pipe in fake crowd noise on Raw, a big NXT star is about to make the jump to the main roster, Brock is about to break his own record, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new channel, Wrestlelamia Shorts. Now, as always, we won't recap the matches, but just look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good as number one, banger after banger. There was no filler last night, as Dynamite had an amazing array of matches from start to finish. Although it wasn't a pay-per-view level show, it was sensational from start to finish, with AEW providing the many different styles its performers bring to the table. Equally as good, AEW showed how clashing styles don't necessarily mean a bad match, something seen in the Rey Fenix vs Claudia Castagnoli bout. Number 2, where's Julia Hart been hiding? And while she's no stranger to wrestling, she's best known for her work as Varsity Blondes' manager and currently a member of the House of Black. Hart's feud with Anna Jay shifted into high gear last night as both women put on a slobber knocker in a no-holds-barred match. Hopefully the 21-year-old Hart opened AEW management's eyes to the fact that she can do more. Number 3, Daniel Garcia shines. Daniel Garcia put in a primo performance during his match against international champion Orange Cassidy. Garcia is more than one of Chris Jericho's goons, he's a former Ring of Honor Pure champion who will likely have more championship goals in his future. Number 4, Christian crushes it. Now, anyone who's ever scoffed at Christian Cage's promo skills should listen to his calm, cool, and collected dismantling of Arn Anderson. The ever-cocky Cage put himself over as a star with the cash that he needed to get a title shot just by asking for it. However, his promo was all about bad-mouthing Wardlow's new manager, as Cage mocked Wardlow's daddy issues, then accusing Anderson of ditching his own son Brock in order to manage a champion. That was just the beginning, as Cage questioned AA status as a legend, mocking him for being best known as Ric Flair's lapdog and asking how many world champions the Enforcer has ever held. Naturally, the fans were enraged, which meant that Captain Charisma's accomplished everything he set out to do. Number 5, 4 Pillars promos were solid. Dynamite presented a fresh spin on hyping a major match through its use of 4 pre-taped promos building up the AEW World Championship match at Double or Nothing. AEW's 4 Pillars, MJF, Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, and Jungle Boy Jack Perry are set for what should be a phenomenal match at Double or Nothing as a battle in a 4-way match for MJF's AEW World Heavyweight Championship. These promos were a good way to give the fans pause to see different paths they have brought each other wrestler here and why each one is capable of walking away victorious. The inclusion of the various wrestlers' mentors was a clever touch too. Number 6, FTR Jarrett and Lethal Mark Briscoe intrigue. Is Mark Briscoe being worked by Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal in their attempt to get the AEW World Tag Team Championship match against FTR? Well, it certainly looks that way, but while Briscoe may seem eccentric, he could be crazy like a fox, drawing either FTR or Jarrett and Lethal into a trap of his own making. AEW has done a good job mixing some comedy into their storyline in the beginning, but also toning it down as it needed as the story progresses into a serious feud. Number 7, Return of Miro. Miro is back, and hopefully he's going to be back on a regular basis. The former TNT champion is just one of many AEW stars who's been lost in the shuffle. With more talk that AEW's Collision show will be announced soon, it's time for AEW to plan out a strong program for Miro who can wrestle and talk with the best of them. And Don Callis, scumbag supreme. Once a snake, always a snake. Rare is a scenario where a heel manager works alongside a babyface before the manager shows their true colors. His betrayal of Kenny Omega was shocking, but a perfect reminder never trust a villain. How Omega reacts to this betrayal could inject even more passion into the feud between the Blackpool Combat Club versus the Elite. Not surprisingly, nothing bad, as Dynamite actually pulled out all the stops for a really good show. Anything that we mentioned in the bag would probably be very picky, so we're not going to bother. Of course, if there's no bad, there was really no downright ugly. Last night's Dynamite showed that AEW has all the talent it needs for good matches from start to finish. Matches can also keep fans tuned in through interviews and hype videos to build additional interest in the product. What do you guys think of Dynamite this week? Let us know in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the news. Our first story looks at rumors of AEW's demise have been greatly exaggerated. Atop of today's news, it looks like All Elite Wrestling may be preparing to pull off one of the biggest wrestling comebacks since Vince McMahon took the moribund WWF product and revitalized it with the Attitude Era. Let's look at some stories showing how AEW may be poised to rise from the ashes, including Tony Khan's latest big announcement, a potentially huge payout from Warner Bros. Discovery on how AEW's rumored TV show will affect Rampage. First, let's look at Tony Khan revealing a big announcement for next week. What is Tony Khan's latest big announcement for the AEW Galaxy? Last night's Dynamite saw Khan comment on how stacked the 10th May Dynamite was, as well as Tony remarking how many talented stars were waiting in the back for a chance to wrestle. His remarks felt that he feels AEW has the roster for more programming, all but confirming the rumors that next week's announcement will be the pending debut of AEW's Saturday night show, AEW Collision. Next up, a rumor is Warner Bros. Backing up the Brinks truck? Is AEW about to be flush with cash? While we don't have any verified numbers on the money WBD is dishing out to AEW for the rumored new deal, there's speculation on how much dough is being forked over. Cage Side Seats commented, while there was a lot of talk online yesterday that AEW's new deal with Warner Bros. Discovery will be for $1 billion over 5 years, both Wrestling Observer Live's Brian Alvarez and Fightful Select Sean Ross Sapp said they couldn't get confirmation on those or any other figures. If this figure is accurate, it could help Tony Khan match any big money offers the WWE makes to several top AEW stars whose contracts are expiring soon, chief among them the Elite's Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Next up, more details on AEW's TV show. With the imminent announcement of Collision, fans are curious what the new status quo will look like for AEW's weekly TV. According to Fightful, Friday's Rampage show will become more resembling what WWF Heat once was. At the risk of us sounding snarky, Rampage has seemed like Heat largely since its debut. Hopefully AEW will find a new way to make Rampage interesting enough to keep viewers tuned in despite the presence of two A-list shows. And what of the apparent demise of AEW Dark and Elevation? Both shows featured a mix of indie talent and AEW talent. Does this mean that the indie stars are out of luck? Not according to Fightful, which reports many indie talent will be more likely to get opportunities on Ring of Honor programming. So that sounds good. Next up, why did WWE pipe in fake noise on Raw? If you're wondering why some of the crowd noise on 8th May's Raw sounded fake, well, that's because it was. WRKD Wrestling reported, production at last night's Raw from Jacksonville, Florida was aware of the lackluster crowd responses compared to this week's event. We heard it described it as a no-win scenario. Either they used a filler crowd noise or they broadcast the silent crowd on TV. This is a bit of a departure as the WWE's crowds have been hot for the most part, whether they're involved in TV events or PLEs. However, there's a hot crowd and then there's a magma hot crowd that nearly tore off the roof during last Saturday's Backlash PLE. What do you guys think of WWE piping in crowd noise? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, why wasn't Bron Breakker drafted? The 2023 WWE draft featured some excellent call-ups from NXT, but one superstar somehow didn't make the jump to the main roster, Bron Breakker. Why didn't they draft one of its biggest stars from the Black and Gold brand? Well, according to WRKD Wrestling, regarding Bron Breakker going undrafted, we've heard that there were tentative plans to draft Bron to the main roster, but officials are so impressed with his heel persona, he remained in NXT to better cultivate his character. There are tentative plans to call him up after SummerSlam. WWE's main roster has so much talent that it's probably better that Brekker's debut happen when the promotion has a solid storyline for him. Otherwise, it's going to be a big waste. Next up, CM Punk name dropped on AEW. Is Punk returning to AEW? Well, that remains to be seen, but with rumors he'll be headlining AEW's Collision show, MJF mentioning Punk on Dynamite as one of the wrestlers he beat should fan the flames of Punk's return. And finally, Brock is about to smash his own record. And last but not least, Brock Lesnar may be a part-time superstar, but he's done it again, setting a personal best for PLE appearances since returning to the WWE in 2012. Ringside News highlighted the Beast Incarnate's achievement, saying, Night of Champions will mark Brock Lesnar's 5th consecutive WWE Premium Live event appearance, something he hasn't done for the past 11 years. While Lesnar looks like he's about to break his own record, he still pales into comparison to Undisputed Champion Roman Reigns, who continues to play hide-and-go-seek with the championship. But there you have it, folks. I'll look at Dynamite this week, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.